Good morning, staff parents and fellow students. My name is Yeji, and thank you for inviting me to speak at Injured State High School Inter-School event, Hope and Humanity in Times of War in Miyazaki, Hayao Province. Today, I invite you back inside the earthly city worlds of the moving castle, not through the eyes of a powerful wizard or cursor, but through the eyes of a child trying to survive a war. Michael is often viewed as a comic relief, but beneath his comedic magical disguise lie trauma, despair, and hope. My imaginative response explores how true safety cannot be found in magic, but in the people who choose to stay beside us. The title of my response is Sanctuary Built on Hills. Please join me as we enter the moving castle. Come in, magic item to the left and potion to the right. What are you looking for today? This is what I tell them. The student of Port Haven, the royal messenger, desperate townspeople. I put my velvet cloak tightly around me, cover my face in the stern frown, and let the magic slough me from head to toe. Poof! Suddenly I am not Marco, the terrified boy everyone looks through. I am a wise old wizard with a beard and voice cracked like a rusted gears. It's easier that way. If you look like an otter, people start asking if you're scared. For a while, I almost believed it too. Then the ending returned. Whenever the military battleship rumbled over the harbor, my knees weakened, buckling beneath the velvet fabric. Their song is unmistakable, a grounding roll of tormental churning through the sky. The sound makes your chest vibrate before the fire falls. I still remember the day the sky turned red over my village. I remember my mom desperate scream telling me stay inside. I remember watching the silver fish swim through the sky. They looked beautiful far from the flame. But they were cruel. They did not care that my father was fixing the fence, or that my mother was hanging washing in the yard. They did not care that I was only a child. It just slowed us up and left nothing behind but the ash and the little boy under a broken punch. I ran until my leg dropped behind me like a heavy iron chains, looking for a place where the smoke couldn't find me. That's why I went to the moving castle. People in town whispered that the wizard howled at the hearts of the young girls. Others said he would trade it away his own heart to keep the terrifying gravity of the world at bay. But the terrifying wizard was better than the sky full of bombs. I thought, if I could learn to change my shape, if I could come at fire like a calcifer, if I could fearless like how, may no one ever look at me and see a frightened orphan again. So I greeted the boy Bannister Beard and the borrowed boys. I became the apprentice. I sweat the horse, fed Halsey by his love, and wore my disguise day after day. I thought I had successfully learned my heart away, just like Hal. But then she walked through the door. Sophie. She was an old lady with younger eyes, cleaning away the dust I used to hide behind. At first, I didn't want her there. She was loud, she changed everything. Worst of all, she looked straight through the wizard and saw the frightened boy. Then she brought something strange into the castle. She cooked up breakfast. She carried out the damp laundry into sunlight, and somehow stitched the frayed edges of our broken house back together. And when we stepped into the marketplace, and the shadow of the military ship loomed overhead, the ice inside my chest began to crack. I was back balanced the porch again. But Sophie didn't run. She just reached down and took my hand. Her finger wrapped around mine, warm and steady, somehow making the terrifying whir of the engine sound further away. The heavy suffocating weight of my other disguise felt useless. For the first time in years, I didn't miss the boy I buried Bannister. But a century built on a fragile is a fragile thing. The air grows thicker with the smoke. The war is catching up to us, and every time the door dial twists to red, or cold dread ankles itself in my stomach. The illusion of safety vanished the moment the door dial clicked, and the woman stepped through. She smelled of lavender water and the Polish war beyond the door. Honey, Sophie's mother, looked like she belonged to a different world. Silk cuffs, Polish shoes, and fingernails untouched by soot. She looked at our soot-stained world with aristocratic disgust, and then she threw her gloved arm and Sophie and whispered the word that froze every drop of my blood. Sophie, come home with me. Let us live properly. The air left my lung as if I had been struck by a cannonball. I retreated into shadows of the staircase, my fingernails digging into my plaster until they bled. My vision blurred. For a moment, her silk cloak gave way to ash, to scent, to lavender, to smoke. She looked like the world itself, coming to take my home away. She is going to take Sophie away. A voice inside me cried. Why wouldn't she leave? We even barely any make sense. Honey came for a war where the roof didn't shake, where the tea wasn't brewed with a strange magic water, where family were legitimate and whole. She deserved silk, not soot. But the selfish, terrified Omfar invited me wanted to rip that fake bird off, jerk my knees, and ankle myself to her ankles. I was trapped in a fierce tug of war between my duty to protect her and my absolute dread of being left behind. I saw a trunk waiting by the door with neatly packed belongings. I saw Sophie walking out that black door, leaving nothing behind but the return suffocating silence of the empty house. I prayed my heart out that the trunk belonged to someone else. I wanted to cast up the cloth and bury my face in her apron, weeping like the orphan I was, begging her not to sentence me to the porch again. But my tongue was a stone of my mouth. I could only stand there, paralyzed, watching everything I cared about hang by a single fragile thread. Mom, I actually like living here. Sophie did not live. She stayed. She chose suit over suit. She chose us. Honey left, but the war remained. The smell of the old village was coming closer and closer. Smoke, burning timber, ash. But this time I didn't hide behind my fake beard. I just reached out and took Sophie's hand. In the middle of the senseless war, our messy, rattling kitchen became the ultimate act of defiance. For years I thought safety came from magic, from house spells, from Calcifer's fire, from the old wizard I pretend to be every day. I thought if I could hide well enough, the rule would never find me. But the war always finds you. But it cannot destroy all the people who choose to stay. The bombs took my village. They took the life I used to know. Yet somehow, inside a castle held together by magic and stubbornness, I found something stronger than either of them. I found family. Still, the war can roar all it wants. It can't not destroy the home we've built. Thank you for listening.